y'all, welcome back to Krista's Kitchen. So as y'all saw, we had some breakfast and now we're moving on to making lunch. And today we have these turkey meatballs and a sauce over some noodles. Don't really have a fancy name for it. And it's just some ricotta and turkey meatballs. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and soak our breadcrumbs so that they're softening and absorbing all of the milk while we get everything else going. So we need about a half a cup of Italian style breadcrumbs. You can use regular breadcrumbs if you want. I just like the added color and flavor that's in the Italian style. And then to this, we're going to add about a half a cup of milk also. And just stir that around. And we're going to let this soak for just a few minutes while we start adding in our seasoning and everything else. So to this, we want to add about a tablespoon of minced garlic, 1 large egg, about a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and a little bit of salt. We're going to start small. I'm going to add in some fresh parsley for color. Get those seasonings mixed evenly into our breadcrumbs so that hopefully it mixes evenly with our meat and everything. So we're going to add in a pound to a pound and a half of ground turkey or ground chicken. This is 1 pound. We need 3/4 of a cup of ricotta cheese and then half of a medium onion, pretty finely diced. So we're going to mix all of this together. We don't want to over mix it, but we want to make sure everything's pretty evenly mixed. Alright, so our oven is preheating to 450. I'm just adding a little bit of olive oil down in the bottom of our pan. And I'm going to use this little ice cream scooper to try and help evenly make the balls. I'm going to roll these up. You want about 15 to 20 meatballs. And since these are turkey, they will not have, and it's lean turkey at that, they will not put off a lot of fat. So that's why I want the olive oil down in the pan. So you don't want to handle them too much. Alright, so we're just going to sprinkle these with a little salt and pepper. They're going to go in the oven at 450 for about 20 minutes. And while those are cooking, we're going to move on to our sauce. Okay, so we have a little bit of bacon grease down in the bottom of our pan. And we're going to add in 4 tablespoons, this is 5, but recipe calls for 4, tablespoons of butter. I'm going to add in about a teaspoon's worth of additional garlic because y'all know we love garlic. I'm just going to melt this all down and saute that garlic for just a minute. We're using our leftover bacon from breakfast this morning to add to the sauce. So you'll need about 6 cups, or not 6 cups, that would be a very bacony sauce, but 6 strips of bacon. Then go ahead and add in about a half teaspoon of salt. And this is unsalted butter that we're using. And about a half teaspoon of pepper. And once our butter is fully melted, we're going to add in a 1.5 cups of heavy cream. And that's going to be the base of our sauce. Okay, so now we're going to pour in that 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Sometimes we add a little bit more in case it's a little bit too thickened. So maybe 1.5 cups to 2 cups for this sauce. Okay, just mix that all around the pan. And we're going to whisk it for about a minute or 2 until it starts to thicken up. So while this starts to simmer, I'm going to shred up this block of, it's a 5-ounce block of Parmesan, but you need about 2 cups of Parmesan. So now that this is thickened up beautifully, we're going to add in about 5 ounces of baby spinach, which is half of this 10-ounce bag. And this will cook down pretty quickly. It again only needs a couple of minutes. So now we're just going to add our bacon pieces back in. I'm just crumbling it right over the pan, or you can chop it. Alright, and the last step before we add our meatballs back in, I'm just going to add a few splashes of pasta water. I'm going to turn the heat off and let this just sit. We've got about 5 minutes left on our meatballs in the oven, and then we'll add them to our sauce and let it simmer together for about 5 more minutes. So we're going to pull our meatballs out of the oven and add them to our pan with our sauce, and we're going to let them simmer just a couple of minutes more. And I've turned the heat back on for our sauce, and just like that, lunch is done. I'm going to scoop up some of our meatballs. Now ideally I would have some egg noodles to serve these over. They just, in my opinion, are a nice easy noodle to go with meatballs, but it is absolutely not necessary. So I just pulled out some bow tie pasta, and there you have it. Lunch is served.